But let's have Jide Olugbodi to join us to discuss this, talking about the FA Cup Classic we saw at Old Trafford right there. Jide, good evening. Welcome to the show.
Good evening. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you so much for joining the show. Off the bat, what was your reaction to that Classic we saw at Old Trafford?
Oh, it was fantastic. I watched the game and you could see the brilliance of British football. You could see that the game was end-to-end, fast counter-attacks. There were holes everywhere, and I think both teams just went for it yesterday. It was super to watch the tactics, moving as well during the game. And it was a fantastic game, I must tell you. Lots of goals. It tells you that it was an attacking game throughout.
Okay, let's delve into the tactical, setup for both managers. Not very few people give Manchester United a chance going into the game itself, but they were in the fight, they were in the match all through fighting, and we saw that until the very end where Diallo scored the winning goal. What do you make of the play from Ten Hag's men, and do you think they can build on this to end the season on a very strong note?
Oh, yes. I mean, when you look at it, I believe that it's in their hands now. I think they did well. They stayed in the game, even for most parts when Liverpool was in control of the game. And I think they'll be relieved that they suddenly have a chance, a shot at the competition. It looked like Liverpool had done one on them yesterday, but they kept coming back. They won a pulsating game. And I believe it's a tradition in Manchester that United go, they vie for one or two of the trophies as well. They have the big name players as well. And I'm sure they're beaming with confidence, beating a very good Liverpool side who's had a very good season as well. So let's see. Ten Hag will see this as an opportunity as well to win something this season. And for the players, what an opportunity to say to all the naysayers to say, look, we're still here, we're united, and we will deliver at the end of the season. So I think the future is great for United as well on the back of this, if you ask me.
Okay, let's look at Anfield now, talking about Liverpool. Where do they go from here? The quadruple dream is over, but they still have the treble intact. Does this, stall their progress, or you think it's just a blip and they would overcome it right from the next game?
Yeah, I think if you know Jurgen Klopp very well, he's a very astute coach. He's very disciplined. And I must have drummed to the players like, look, you guys gave it all up yesterday because they had the game in hand. And you could see during the burst of yesterday's game, some of the players played as if they had won it. But they say it's not over until the lady sings at the end. So, yes, for them, they have the Premiership, to go on for. They still got the treble. So it's just going to motivate them and say, look, let's go for it. We still have the Premiership and other things to play for. Let's just forget what is behind now and just let's move on. And they've got fantastic players, game changers everywhere. You can see when Salah came on yesterday, you saw how Diaz played. And it's a great. I hope it ends well for Liverpool because they've given us super football this season.
Okay, let's turn our attention now to the other match we saw yesterday in the FA Cup, talking about Chelsea, the Blues. Seemingly having a good run when it comes to cup competitions. We saw them in the final of the Carabao Cup. Now they're into the semi-finals. In the domestic scene, it's a different tale entirely. But yesterday, it took two extra time goals, or two added time goals, I beg your pardon, to see Leicester City off. How can you rate Pochettino's side from what we saw yesterday?
Well, they always say that 20 teams in the Premiership and you take 4 teams in the Championship. So you got 24 good teams. So Leicester, they're second in the Championship. They gave Chelsea a run for the money. And I know the red card helped Chelsea as well. But looking at it, it was a battle. For Leicester, it was a cup final, any way you look at it. And they gave everything. But Chelsea came back on top. The challenge I have with Chelsea at the moment is they keep conceding goals. You just can't win anything if you let in a lot of goals. And that's what I'm sure Poch and his team will be looking at, how to stop goals coming in. The golden rule in football is if you keep a clean sheet, you either draw or you win the game. So I think that's what Chelsea's got to focus on. But they've got a tough one playing Manchester City in the next round, if you look at it.
Well, you preempted my next question, and that is let's take a brief look at what the next round of matches will be for these teams. You just talked about Chelsea taking on Manchester City in the semi-final at Wembley, and on the flip side, we have Manchester United taking on Coventry City, who stunned Wolverhampton Wanderers, by the way. But for these semi-finals, we'll definitely have a field day talking about them in the coming days. But a brief one, how do you see this panning out, especially for Chelsea Football Club against Manchester City?
Well, they say when you go to Wembley, anything can happen. So, Chelsea, Man City, if you ask me, at the back of how, Manchester City are playing, we've actually run out of adjectives and verbs to describe anything they're doing at the moment. They make football look easy. The toughest of games, they go in there and they finish the opposition in 20 minutes. So they're big game winners. De Bruyne, Salah, Roddy, you've got Doku's playing well as well. There are lots of players over there folding. So, and they're arguably one of the world's best teams, the world's best managers they have in Pep. So it's going to be a tough one. It's a defiant army that is hungry for success. That's what you see Manchester City at the moment. And I know Chelsea is going to come up and, put up a fight. For some of those Chelsea boys, they may be hungrier because they've not won anything in code so far. So I predict a very good one. But if you ask me, I think Manchester City at the moment are unstoppable. You have to have 8 players having bad games for them to lose a game like that.
We'll see how that pans out. Talking about the semi-final pairing for the FA Cup for the year 2024. Remember, Manchester City are the first side to make 6 successive semi-final appearances in the history of the competition, and that shows you they're indeed a formidable force. I'm sure the Blues will have their hands full on the day. Thank you very much, Jide Olugbodi, for your time on the show this evening.
You're welcome.
Thank you.